What's the most twisted way someone tried to help you? My third miscarriage happened, and after the doctors ran every test imaginable, they found nothing wrong with me. My husband Tom held my hand in that cold hospital room. His eyes were red from crying, and he kept squeezing my fingers like he was afraid I'd disappear. We're going to get through this together, he said. I'm not going anywhere. We'll keep trying as long as it takes. He knew my biggest dream was being a mother, and for 6 months he was perfect. He went to every single doctor's appointment and took notes in this little leather notebook. He cooked these special fertility meals he found online with lots of leafy greens and salmon. He even signed me up for a support group at the community center because he thought talking to other women would help me heal. I went every Thursday evening. The biggest surprise was when he suggested my sister Katie move in with us. You need family around you right now, he said while making me breakfast one morning. Katie had just broken up with her boyfriend and needed a place anyway. Having her there actually helped. She'd make me laugh when I wanted to cry, and we'd stay up late watching terrible reality shows. By month 4, he'd converted our spare bedroom into a nursery. He painted it yellow and bought this expensive crib. On our anniversary, he made this elaborate 5-course dinner with candles everywhere. He even gave a whole speech about how we were meant to be parents, and next year we'd be celebrating as a family of 3. I really believed him and started feeling hopeful again. But one Thursday in March, the support group ended early because the facilitator got sick. I drove home thinking maybe Tom and I could actually have a date night for once. I walked into my house and heard the TV playing in the living room, but when I rounded the corner, my whole world tilted. Tom and Katie were on the couch and she was straddling his lap. Her shirt was off and his hands were on her waist. They were so caught up in each other they didn't even hear me come in. Then I must have made some kind of noise because Katie's head whipped around. She scrambled off him so fast she knocked over the coffee table. Tom jumped up and started pulling his shirt down. This isn't what it looks like, he said, which was such a stupid thing to say because it was exactly what it looked like. Katie ran to the bathroom and I heard her throwing up. That's when everything clicked. The morning sickness she'd been blaming on food poisoning, the way she'd been avoiding wine at dinner, the baggy sweatshirts in April. Is she pregnant? I asked. Tom's face went white. He opened his mouth and closed it like a fish. Katie came out of the bathroom crying. Her makeup was running down her face and she looked terrified. How far along? I asked. 3 months, Katie whispered. 3 months. I did the math in my head. They'd started sleeping together right after my last miscarriage, while I was still bleeding, while he was promising we'd try again. Listen to me, Tom said, grabbing my shoulders. I did this for us. Katie looks just like you. We could raise the baby together. That's why I've been so confident about everything. I found us a solution. A baby that would look like you and have our family's genes. I stared at him like he'd grown a second head. You think you were helping us by sleeping with my sister? You don't understand, he said. I knew this would work. That's why I set up the nursery and made all those promises. I wasn't lying. We were going to have a baby. I slapped him very hard. Then I pointed at the door. Get out now. They left that night with garbage bags full of clothes. 2 months later, they got married at City Hall. A year later, I started the adoption process. And another year later, I finally got matched with a baby girl named Lily. The day I brought her home was the happiest day of my life. I'd had Lily for about 6 months when my phone rang at 10 p.m. from a random number. It was Tom. He was crying so hard I could barely understand him. Katie had lost her 5th baby. 5 miscarriages in 2 years. They'd finally tested him after the 5th one. Turns out he had this genetic condition that made it almost impossible for him to father viable pregnancies. The kicker was that his doctor said they could have treated it with medication if they'd caught it early, like while we were trying early. He had told me previously he had been tested, but apparently he was lying the entire time. But now the damage was permanent. He'd never have biological children. Katie's divorcing me, he sobbed. She says I wasted her fertile years. She wants the house and half my retirement. I need you to testify that I was a good husband during our marriage. Please. You know what it's like to want children so badly. I looked at Lily playing with her blocks on the living room floor. She smiled at me with her little gap-toothed grin. You're right, I said. I do know what that's like. Good luck, Tom. I hung up and blocked his number. Later I heard through mutual friends that Katie got the house and most of his money. She's dating her divorce lawyer now, and apparently they're expecting